Parm Saran is a licensed registered nurse with nearly 30 years of experience. She specializes in mental health and is an advocate for removing the stigma around mental illness. She is a certified therapist, coach, and motivational speaker. She is a holistic nursepreneur helping thousands with her online program, Pain to Purpose. She believes in creating your own destiny and empowering yourself, helping people live life by design and not by default. She has a YouTube channel where she encourages people to choose faith over fear and speak out against bullying, stigma, abuse, and violence. Her best-selling book, Own Your Life, Create As You Go, has inspired many to live life to its fullest potential. Parm is a wife and a mother, and her everyday message, especially to women, is do it. Because your kids deserve a mother they can brag about. She believes you can change your story to change your life and inspires people to do the same. Parm's motive is to help people find their inner power and be the person they are meant to be. Please welcome a voice of change, Parm Saran, and get ready for her show, Grow Your Greatness.
Hello everyone, Sat Shri Akal, Namaste, good evening, good morning. Hope you all are doing great. So today we are going to talk about anxiety. Now, what is anxiety? Anxiety is a feeling of worrying, nervousness in response to something that hasn't happened yet. It's kind of anticipation worrying. You're worrying about something that hasn't happened that might happen. Means when you are thinking about the future most of the time. Or you're thinking about some event that is about to occur in the future, in the coming days or months or years. Now, anxiety is very common. So let me tell you this, that everyone at some stage goes through anxiety. Now, some people, they confuse nervousness with anxiety. Now, what is the difference? Nervousness is the type of feeling that we all feel when we are going for a job interview, we're going for a test, or we are moving to a new country, or we are changing locations, we're meeting new people. So that kind of nervousness that you feel, that's not anxiety, because that is short-lived. That we feel that, but once we are done with that, that's over. But whereas anxiety symptoms, they actually physically make you sick. Anxiety is when those symptoms last for at least 6 months. That's when you say that you have anxiety. Nervousness, on the other hand, is, for example, I can share my incident of nervousness with you. I had extreme nervousness before my G driving test. So that's the driving test here in Canada that you have to take before you can drive on a highway or a motorway, as they call it in England. So before the test, for some reason, I was so nervous that I physically made myself sick. My whole body went cold, heart rate started increasing, and I was going to the washroom every 10 minutes. Like, I made so sick myself just thinking about the test. To the extent that my husband, he had to sit with me, held my hand, and he has to do a pep talk for me. And I asked him to come with me to the test center. I was still very nervous when we went there. I did all the check-in and everything. And as soon as the examiner came in, and then she asked me to go. And as soon as I started driving, I didn't feel anything. My whole nervousness was gone because at that moment, I wasn't thinking about the test because I was in the test. I was in that present moment. I was doing it at that time. That's why I didn't feel nervous. So nervousness and anxiety, they are in anticipation of the future events. We worry ourselves so much, we think about the stuff so much in advance that we make ourselves sick. So that is what we call anxiety, when we start getting the physical symptoms. Now, what are those physical symptoms? If you have those physical symptoms to the extent that they last up to 6 months, then you can call it anxiety. Otherwise, it can be nervousness. Okay, so now what are the symptoms? So the symptoms are, you feel like your hands start feeling wet, your breathing starts going shallow, or sometimes you breathe really heavy, and your heartbeat goes up, and you're trembling, you're shaking, and sometimes you feel like you can't breathe. You feel like your breathing is stopping, and sometimes you go into, when these symptoms last for so long, you go into, we call it panic attack. You start getting panic when you know that you can't control these symptoms, and your breathing is stopping, you feel like you're gonna die. That's when you go into panic attack. Now, these are the symptoms that you feel when you are in anxiety mode. And these symptoms, they can cause you to have long-term physical ailments like headaches, muscle pains, body aches, sometimes depression, sometimes heart diseases. So these anxiety symptoms, if they are not treated on time, they can in turn lead to physical sicknesses, physical diseases, physical ailments. Only by the fear of what might happen, only by the fear of thinking what can occur that we haven't experienced yet. We are just making ourselves sick by thinking about what might happen. And it's no one's fault. It's not your fault. It's not anyone's fault. But there are some causes, there are some reasons that can cause you to have the anxiety symptoms. One of the main cause is family circumstances, family history. If someone in the family has the history of going through anxiety symptoms, the chances are you're going to suffer. I won't say suffer. You're going to go through the anxiety symptoms. But it's not necessary. You can change it. And second is, if you have any childhood trauma, or any trauma during any stages of life. For example, I had a client, he had an accident while he was driving. Someone hit him so hard from the back, and now he's having anxiety even at the thought of driving. Whenever he starts driving, he has this fear that someone's going to hit him. So any type of trauma can be the cause of the anxiety. And the third reason can be the environmental facts, the type of surroundings we live in. If you are living in a very stressful environment, fast pace, then some of us can develop the anxiety symptoms when we feel like we may not be able to compete with those fast pace. And the other reason can be if children, they are overprotected by parents. When we are giving too much comfort to the children and they don't know how to go outside the world and how to deal with any type of situations, they might say that they feel anxiety. Now, there are certain types of anxiety, and these types depend on the cause of the anxiety. So, for example, one type is generalized anxiety. So generalized anxiety means when person is constantly worrying about anything and everything all the time. No matter what situation is, no matter what's going on, they are worrying about the future all the time. That what can happen, or what might happen, or what will happen. Number 2 is social anxiety. Sometimes people feel like they cannot deal with the outer world. They don't want to go outside because talking to anyone, talking to strangers gives them those symptoms, gives them the feeling that they are not safe in that environment. That's why they feel anxiety when going into the even the shop, like going to order food or going to call for a cab or even going to work. Sometimes people feel social anxiety. And another type of anxiety is separation anxiety, that to some extent we call it the attachment. to some extent. If it's not giving you any physical symptoms, then we call it attachment. That a child feels when they're leaving home, or a mother feels when they're dropping off their son or daughter to the airport. I can relate to that. When I was dropping off my son to the airport to go to Australia, I had those kind of feelings, but that's love, that's attachment. We are feeling like they're going away. But when going away makes you sick, thinking about that you're going away from this person and you cannot cope on your own, and you make yourself sick with those symptoms that I told, then that's called separation anxiety. There are a few other types of anxieties which are less common. Now, wherever there is any situation, there is always a solution. So there is treatment for anxiety. The first treatment is, let's think about it this way. When we are thinking about something for the future that might happen, or we are worrying what will happen, that's when we get those anxiety symptoms, right? But think about it. It's just the thought that's making us sick, right? So the trick is to watch what we think. As I always say, watch what you are thinking all the time. Think before you think. Whenever you catch yourself that you are thinking about the future, that what might happen tomorrow or a month from now or a year from now, bring yourself back to the present moment. Bring yourself to the now. And tell yourself that when that will happen, we will know. But in this very moment, in this present moment, everything is okay. Everything is well. You are safe in this very moment. So always check what you are thinking. If you are thinking about any anxious thought, catch them and then change them. So remember 3 C's. Check, catch, change. Check your thoughts, catch any negative or anxious thought, and then change it. It's so easy. It's so easy when you start doing it. When you start being mindful of your thoughts, when you are constantly watching yourself, what you are thinking, then it's very easy to change what you think. So that's one remedy to stay out of anxiety, by staying in the present moment. Now, this is one way of staying in the present moment, by checking your thought. There is another way of staying in the present moment. Whenever you feel like you are feeling anxious, whenever you feel like you have started getting those physical symptoms, your hands are getting sweaty, your heart rate is increasing, respiration is increasing, you're feeling like you can't breathe anymore, then at that very moment, remind yourself to breathe. Remind yourself to do deep breathing. Deep breathing means breathe from your abdomen. Breathe from the abdomen up, not just from here. That's a short breathing. Do long breathings and do this 5-5-5 breathing. What is 5-5-5 breathing like? Inhale for 5 seconds. Then hold your breath for 5 seconds and then exhale for 5 seconds. So, right? Inhale and count in your mind up to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, inhale for 5 seconds, stop, hold your breath, and then exhale for 5 seconds. What will this do? When you are focusing on your breathing, when you are intentionally controlling your breathing, when you are doing the exhale, inhale under your control, your brain is getting a message that everything is okay. Your mind is getting the message that there is no threat. So that thought that's going into the cells then talk to each other and they say, oh, it's okay, there is no threat, everything is fine, calm down. So cells start calming down, and then the whole body starts calming down. So this is a second method, how to stay calm when you're starting feeling the anxious symptoms. Third remedy is meditation. You can do meditation to avoid the anxiety. Meditation means sit in a quiet place, close your eyes, and just focus on your breathing. You don't have to control it. You don't have to do anything. Just focus. Just see, just feel the breath going in and out, in and out. Do this for at least 20 minutes. This will also helps you calm your nerves, helps you calm your mind, helps you get rid of the anxiety. The other thing that you can do is you can always tell yourself that I am safe in this very present moment. Whatever will happen tomorrow, I have the strength to deal with it. It's just changing your mindset. Telling yourself that you can do it, that you can deal whatever comes in. Okay? And the other remedies are talk to someone. Talk about it, how you feel. Anyone whom you trust. And the other thing is to have a good night's sleep is very important to cure your anxiety. Now, good night's sleep doesn't mean that you're sleeping for 8 hours. Good night's sleep is when you wake up in the morning, how energetic and refreshed you feel. That's when you know that you had a good night's sleep. Because sometimes what happens, we go to bed, we sleep, our body is resting, it's sleeping, but our mind is running. So the idea is to calm, to let the mind rest too. And to have that good night's sleep, there are few things that you can do, but and I'll talk about sleep in detail one day. One thing that immediately you can start doing is stop using your phone or laptop at least an hour before bedtime. 1 hour before bedtime, stop, cut yourself off from social media. That will help you to sleep better. Make sure you are eating healthy. That specifically are good for anxiety are, for example, chia seeds, flax seeds, vitamin D, magnesium, and turmeric. And of course, cut off alcohol and caffeine out of your daily routines. You can have tea, or you can have decaf coffee, or you can have green tea or herbal teas. Just have to make few lifestyle changes. Because nothing changes unless you do. Nothing's gonna change unless I change myself. So these small steps can help us to keep ourselves calm, keep ourselves serene, keep ourselves sane, so that we can make the right choices. We can make the right decisions, because life is all about choices and decisions. So these are some of the remedies to control anxiety. I hope this helps. And if there is anything else that you would like me to talk about, please let me know in the comment sections. Till we meet again, stay calm, keep smiling.